Hello, I'm Lanatherian, and this is a walkthrough of my level recreation, the Undead Asylum from Dark Souls. So initially the player would start right here, coming out of a pit, and they would enter this courtyard area and come across the bonfire. I started with this area and created it mostly out of a cube grid, and these arches were made in Maya because I wanted to dabble in some Maya and to get some experience there. I made the rubble and the cracks in the wall gray to indicate that it's rubble, and I made the floor brown to indicate that it's dirt. Um, I made some fences up on the top out of combining geometry, and made them black to match the black color of the fences. And I made this whole courtyard color matching the initial level I gained inspiration from. Um, in this area over here, this is my addition to the level. I also made this section using a cube grid mostly, and then the arches from Maya. And over here, there is a lost soul, and I made a dead body to represent that you get it from a dead guy. I put it initially in front of the door to kind of like guide the player over here, because from far away, the teal color stands out pretty well, so you can kind of see that. Hey, there's a thing over here. And I also colored it accurate to how it is in the inspiration as well. After this first section, you go up the stairs and you go into the boss room. Initially, the front door and the back door will be covered by fog, and the player would have to go through it to activate the boss fight. This pit down here is an extra room that I never got to, but the lighting down here is green, so this whole room is yellow, and then down here it just immediately turns green. That's why it's a green color. This whole interior was made with Cupid as well, but here I started using some geometry, so the arches that you see on the ceiling were created using additive and subtractive geometry. Same with a lot of the things on the walls. Because the walls are pretty similar, I did the back wall here, and then I copy and pasted it and kind of pulled them to the front wall here. So I did save a lot of time doing that as well. Um, After this interior, we go to the outside level over here, or part over here, and this is the cliff area. So the player would traverse up this little cliff. I have this person here to check scale. I forgot to delete them, but here they are, yeah. So you go up this cliff over here. I also made these ruins using cube grids and geometry. Um, One thing to note, a lot of the geometry that I made, I turned into a static mesh so I can reuse um, a lot of it because a lot of this level is just arches and rectangles and squares. Um, it's a very symmetrical structure, so that also saved me a lot of time, so I didn't have to recreate everything. So up here, the player would go up the steps, and a cutscene would activate over here. Um, some things that I would fix or change if I were to restart this project is starting with the map, because I started the block out and then realized I should have started with the map, and then down the road that created some scaling difficulties. Um, Another thing that I would do is do sub-levels. Initially I didn't do any sub-levels for this, I just made it all in one level. But I definitely wanna start using that. So if I were to redo this project, I would just start with the map instead of working somewhat backwards, and then use sub-levels. Ultimately, I decided on this path instead of other hallways and rooms, um, because I felt that this was the golden path, so the player would enter through that door, they would touch the bonfire, here is the boss room, and then they would leave the boss room and get to the cutscene. So I felt like this was the more important path to follow, because initially I was going to do this room, but felt that it wouldn't have flown as well. Um, yeah. Um, that's initially the level. Um, yeah, thank you for watching.